Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thanks for coming to the meeting this evening. Record the attendance, please.
Councilmember Wendell is absent this evening. 6 council members are present.
Thank you. Action to approve the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton, Byrne,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran. Aye.
Okay, at this time we have open forum. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to address an item to the council that is not on our agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Approval of the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any council questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton, Byrne,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran. Aye. Niemeyer.
Aye. Okay. No presentations or contracts this evening. We'll go right into ordinances. First readings. Item 8A, introduction and first reading on ordinance 22-06 or 026, an ordinance amending section 16F of ordinance 21-028 and pertaining to prohibited locations for licensing as medical cannabis establishments in the city of Brookings. Mike Struck, our community development director, will review this item for us.
And council members, this ordinance amendment before you tonight is cleanup language, clarification language. You can see it on the overhead. It's a highlighted area, the underline, and the language that is struck out is proposed for deletion. Worked with the city attorney, Steve Brightsman, on this. Essentially, what we're proposing with this amendment is to eliminate the language that says that medical cannabis facilities cannot be located within any building containing a dwelling unit. There's some potential sites that are eliminated with this. Any of the mixed-use projects or facilities, buildings that have been done in the city of Brookings. We got a few along 6th Street, potentially one on Main Avenue South, but it also would eliminate many potential locations in our downtown. We have many buildings that have residential units above there. We don't feel that it's appropriate to be able to sell out, have a dispensary located within a dwelling unit, so that's addressed within the language. It also would not be allowed per zoning. You have to be located within a commercial district. So we feel that a mixed-use project with your commercial, it's separated from your residential uses, and that it would certainly be appropriate because that is a location that you would allow other retail type uses to be established. When we were looking at the zoning aspect of this, we had discussions where we kind of looked at these dispensaries very similar to a pharmacy, and a pharmacy would be a use that would be certainly acceptable within a mixed use development type project. And so that is the language that we are proposing tonight. City attorney has reviewed this, actually wrote the memo and the ordinance and did the research, and we would stand for any questions that you may have. This does come with a staff recommendation of a
Public hearing on this item. Is there any public comments? Seeing none, close the hearing. Entertain a motion. Well, no, we're not doing a motion this time. Does council have any questions or comments? Okay, move on to the next item. Item 9, public hearings and second readings. 9A, public hearing and action on ordinance 22-023, an ordinance to change the zoning within the joint jurisdictional area surrounding the city of Brookings, a portion of 3707 Main Avenue South, Mike Struck, our Development Director, will review this item also.
22-023 is a rezoning request in the joint jurisdiction area located along Main Avenue South. A zoning request that is moving from a B3 to an R3A. So this would be something that we would consider a down zoning, going from a commercial zoning classification to a residential. The actual rezone area is a portion of the highlighted area that you see on the overhead. The basis for this is the applicant purchased the property. There's an existing home on the site. He would like to make some improvements to the home and construct an attached or garage to the residential structure in a B3 property that would be considered a non-conforming use, not allowed. And so he's seeking to rezone the portion of that property that has the home sitting on it. This does come to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and the Development Review Team and staff recommend approval, and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, close the hearing. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Does the council have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Tilton Byrne,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 9B, public hearing and action on ordinance 22-024, an ordinance pertaining to an application for a conditional use to establish a mixed business/residential use in a business B3 heavy district known as 129 Main Avenue South. Mike Struck, our Community Development Director, will review this item.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Ordinance 22 is ordinance proposing a conditional use for a mixed-use development. Parcels highlighted in yellow. 129 and 133 Main Avenue South are proposed for redevelopment. 141 is existing business in place, but those three parcels will be replatted into one lot. The mixed-use project is proposed on the north end, kind of where you see 129 Main Avenue. There would be a second building constructed in the middle parcel, approximately 133, that would be for small office use. In the B3 zoning district, to have a mixed-use project does require a conditional use permit. The plan is to construct approximately 4,000 square foot building on the main level for commercial uses, with residential above consisting of approximately 4 two-bedroom units. This does come to you from the Planning Commission with a 5-0 recommendation for approval. The Development Review Team and staff have reviewed this and also recommend approval. And I'd stand for any questions that you may have.
So moved.
Second.
Council have any questions or comments on this item?
I have one question. So this is, it's not approving the overlay part of it?
This is the conditional use element of it. So in a B3 zoning district, as long as the use is a permitted use, they can do it by right. What they're proposing with the mixed business residential use within the same structure requires a conditional use permit. So that's the portion that we're acting on right now. 2 items from now will be the overlay portion of it.
Okay. Any other questions or? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran, Aye. Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Byrne.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to item 9C, public hearing and action on ordinance 22-025, an ordinance to change the zoning within the city of Brookings, lots 1 through 8 on block 4 of Hill Park Edition. Mike will also give us the rundown on this one.
Thank you. 20 for the Hill Park Edition, more commonly known as the area along 16th Avenue on the south side of 6th Street. The applicant owners are proposing to rezone this property to a B2 for commercial development in this particular area. It's currently zoned R2. The homes in this particular area are all rental at this particular point in time, and it's the developer's looking at it as a redevelopment project. The comprehensive plan does identify this as one of our strategic areas. A little challenging to see, but there's a highlighted area in red that is the proposed rezoning area. It's identified within our comprehensive plan as a medium density residential / mixed use area. And so one of the things I'd like to explain is in Brookings with our mixed use, we are historically familiar with the vertical integration where your commercial's on the main level and your residential is above. This proposal is an example of a horizontal mixed use where the north half of the block from the alley north up to 6th Street would be the commercial, and the south half of the block would maintain in residential. And so it's more of a horizontal integration of a mixed use development project. With that being said, the development review team and staff have reviewed this request. They do recommend approval. It does come to you with a recommendation of 3-2 in support of the rezoning request from the Planning Commission. If approved, this would also be subject to the Commercial Corridor Design Review Overlay District requirements. So with that process, the site plan and the building details would come back to the Planning Commission as well as the City Council for final approval if the zoning is approved this evening. With that, I would stand for any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Mike. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Entertain a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any council questions or comments?
I have a comment. I read about this section because I know we've had a lot of discussion last week about it, or 2 weeks ago. And I've talked to you about zoning. I'm learning all of this. And I do think in this part of Brookings, because it is such a high visibility area, that it'll be important to really stick with that overlay and make sure it fits with the neighborhood. I just wanted to express my opinion on that.
Any other comments or questions? Question. We're going to lose 8 dwellings here. And I know one of the owners is here. What are the plans for the homes? Are they going to be demolished? Are they going to be up for possible reuse and moving them off?
Hi, my name's Todd Voss. I own part of the homes and then Dave. But as of right now, 5 of them are planned to be relocated. And
Excellent.
there's 3 of them that would just be tore down.
Okay.
We're gonna try to auction those to see if anybody besides us would have any interest in moving them. But we only plan to move the 5.
Okay. Thanks, Todd. Please call the roll.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Byrne,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 9D, public hearing and action on a commercial corridor design review overlay district site plan for 129 and 133 Main Avenue South. Mike Struck will give us a rundown on this one also.
Thank you, Mayor. And before you is a commercial corridor design review overlay district proposal for property located Main Avenue South. You can see it's the north two parcels. It's a redevelopment project. The proposal is to construct, two buildings. The north one is approximately 40 by 100 foot, and this will have be a two-story building with commercial on the main floor, residential above. This was the one that was subject to the conditional use permit 2 items ago. The second building is a small office building that would be proposed primarily for their property management associated with the owners. With the commercial corridor design review overlay, they have the ability on a multi-story building to request that the first story protrude 10 feet into the required setback. In the B3 district, it's a 20-foot front yard setback. They're requesting the average of 10 feet in this particular case for the first story of the 2 buildings. And why we say the average is as you look at the property line, Main Avenue South alignment is a little angled. And so I believe on the north building, the very north corner of the building is set back a little over 11 feet, but on the south corner, it's set back just around a little over 8 feet. And so we use the average of 10 feet. The second story will be offset and be set back 20 feet. On the middle building there, the smaller building, they are requesting an exception to the design review overlay district requirements in that they would like to set the whole building at the average of the 10-foot setback. And so that would be an exception that they can request through this process. The other exception that they're requesting in this process is reduced parking space requirements. And that really comes to you as a recommendation from staff and the development review team. They had additional site designs that provided more parking. However, from the staff and development review team, we felt it was more important to have along the east property line, along that alley, more of a separation buffer between the alley and the actual parking lot. We felt a clear delineation would be beneficial for the overall site design, site layout, and flow, rather than having the parking going right up to the alley. And so we felt we were comfortable with providing less parking spaces in exchange for having what we feel is a better overall site design. The parking would be associated with all 3 uses there, understanding that the existing building to the south is an existing casino, and really felt like based upon the parking requirements for that and the actual usage, it probably doesn't generate even remotely close to what the parking requirements would indicate. And then the middle building is a small office for their property management company, and it's a building where 1 or 2 people are staffed. People would drop off potential rent checks or something, and its office space doesn't generate a lot of use. And then the mixed-use building to the north, we know that with the residential above being 4 units, 2 bedrooms each, there's kind of a standard parking demand that would be necessary for that. But the retail use below it, retail uses, they change over time, and so the parking demands can fluctuate a little bit. But we felt with 45 parking spaces provided on site between the 3 uses, it would provide adequate parking. So those are the 2 exceptions that they were asking for. Otherwise, they meet the criteria of the corridor overlay district. In the elevations that were included in the packet, they were revised and updated today to show the staff, DRT, and Planning Commission's recommendation on the north building that additional glazing is provided, and they have made those adjustments on the second story. So there's 4 windows on the second story instead of 2 that were shown in your packet. Everything else meets the overlay district requirements, and I would stand for any questions that you may have.
Okay. Open this up for public hearing. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Tilton Byrne.
The variation in the setback, if that could cause any potential issues with traffic flow or line of sight issues, either on the sidewalk or from the street?
We don't anticipate any issues with that. Basically, the access points are very similar to where they'll move slightly, but very similar to where they are existing. The actual building to the south is built at the setback line, so we feel that at the minimum, I think the southern corner of the one building is like 8 feet setback from the property line. So the property line would in this particular case, when you're looking at the map, would just be on the east side of the sidewalk. From the street right away. From a pedestrian perspective, I think when you have those access drives, leading out to Main Avenue South, they're offset enough from the buildings that as you pull up, you're easily going to have clear sight triangles to see to the north and to the south of anybody coming down the sidewalk. So we're comfortable with those setbacks.
Any other council questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tilton Byrne,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have no other business. Time to review upcoming council agendas. We do have the July 19th study session next week. Focuses on ARPA funding. Next meeting is on the 26th, regular meeting. Right now we have no first readings. We have a bid award to put out for a snow blower for the airport. And then location for licensing a medical cannabis establishment is going to be in second reading. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. If there's anything that the council wants to bring up or wants to look at in the future?
Does there have to be a motion to have that community
It's already
room?
been done.
Assuming council's okay with it. Room. We don't have the ability to have television broadcasting capabilities, but it can be zoomed. I'm looking to Jake because I know he spoke earlier, but I haven't been able to read the emails on this communication.
That's correct. We don't have the broadcasting capabilities that this room here in the chambers would have.
That it can be zoomed, and that Zoom will be televised later, correct?
That's correct. We will run it through Zoom, and after the meeting is over, we'll be able to post that Zoom to our website.
Our IT department worked really hard to try to get that room set up for Zoom capabilities. It was intended to be set up for Zoom capabilities, and they were able, from what I've been told, yesterday to get it set up and rolling. So if council's okay with that, we can hold it in that room, knowing that it'll only be available via Zoom, and that we'd rebroadcast that later.
And I'd also like to just throw out there that maybe we only do it if the COVID is low this coming week. That if it's up, we would do it in here.
All right. So I hope the Zoom that I zoomed in for a meeting that Paul attended also, the camera was not good. It looked like a fishbowl. And so I have had some reservations about having a meeting in there just because whoever comes on for Zoom to watch it via Zoom is not going to get a very good perspective. The mic wasn't good that night. It just was kind of a failed meeting for me to attend via Zoom, and so I signed off, and Paul gave me a review later, but it was very difficult. And granted, I was looking at my cell phone to watch it, but the audio was horrible, and the Zoom didn't look good. So if it's been improved, hopefully that works better.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, the system we'll be using is the OWL other settings. So the improvements that have been made to 300 include an OWL that will sit in the center of the room. That will also serve as your speaker or microphone. Sorry, that will serve as your microphone for the meeting. The existing bulbs that come down, they will serve as your speakers. So it will be the owl that will be located in the center of the tables and should pick up everyone. And then as far as the video output goes, my understanding is the owl will rotate and pick up the speaker who is talking at any given time. So the system has been tested, as City Manager Brazino said, and this will be our first utilization of the owl for the meeting. So it will be a little bit of an experience for us as well.
All right. Councilmember Tilton Byrne.
I just wanted to add that I'm appreciative. I do think that the setup in there allows us as a council to have a much better conversation about the topics that we'll be discussing. So I am appreciative of that. I would encourage us to continue to look at improvements for the video and audio capacity in there. This is the first I'm hearing about the OWL system, so maybe that's a good solution. But I do think it would be beneficial to be able to do televised meetings from the community room, because I do think that environment allows for good dialogue and discussion that sometimes this particular setup doesn't allow for. I would also, though, knowing that it won't be televised live, I would encourage any community members that are interested in participating in the conversation or hearing the conversation about ARPA to contact us ahead of time via email or phone calls, and also to attend the meeting in person if they're able.
Okay.
On a separate, everyone who participated in the police chief search, not only this last week but over the last few months, we've had quite a bit of public participation. The police departments participated, the dispatchers, all the police officers. We've also had a number of committees as well, from the community leadership team, as well as law enforcement. And we've had a number of other outside agencies participate in touring some of the applicants around as well. I anticipate making an offer probably later this week, beginning of next week. We will then have to do an extensive background check. It'll take up to 3 weeks. And so I anticipate probably making a public announcement probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks on this process. I know that's unfortunate that it has to take that long, but we are going to do our due diligence and do a very extensive background check on the individual, assuming that they say yes. But at the end of the day, I just want to once again thank the public for participating in that process. Heard some great comments from the public as well as the police department on the engagement and the work that Meloria did for the community of Brookings. So thank you once again.
All right. Comments? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.